Call the meeting to order for the town board, January 4th, 2017 board meeting. We have our agendas. The first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and I see we have a couple of additions. We're going to add a 5E regarding equipment disposal under the consent agenda, and we're going to add a 7B regarding a water audit that the town engineer is going to explain to us. Anything else?
No.
I'll move to approve as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Third item on the agenda is to approve the payment of bills.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made to approve paying the bills. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Fourth item is to approve the town board meeting minutes of December 19th. Any comments, corrections?
I didn't see any additions or changes. Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the board meeting minutes of December 19th are approved. There's now 5 items on the consent agenda. Steve, could you read those, please?
Yes. Item 5A is call a public hearing for Monday, February 6th, 2017, beginning at 7:10 p.m. regarding 2310 Libel Street / 5906 Highway 61 for the following. A zoning ordinance amendment to section 6-5- conditional uses, to the vacation of a drainage and utility easement, a wetland permit request, and conditional use permit request. Under 5B, approve the 2017 utility connection charges as outlined in the packet. Item 5C is to approve the 2017 agreement for Northeast Youth and Family Services. Item 5D is approve the 2017 contract for Clifford Larson Allen Audit Services contract. And item 5E is equipment disposal. Based on the Public Works Director's review and recommendations, approve the disposal of unit number 48, a 1998 Sterling L8000 at a State of Minnesota Surplus Services auction with proceeds to be deposited into the general fund. I make a motion to approve those consent agenda items.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I just had one comment going through those consent items. The contract for the Northeast Youth and Family Services is basically the same terms that we've had for the past year, but I did notice that the charge to the township is substantially reduced. Looks like about a 16-17% reduction. So
Yes, that was predicted as the two merged, Northwest Youth and Family and White Bear Community Counseling Center. So they're performing as they anticipated.
Good. And we're satisfied with the performance.
Yes.
Okay, motion's made and seconded, and unless there's further discussion, questions, I'll call the question. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Next item is 6 on the agenda, and that is 6A is a hobby kennel license 6-month review.
All right. On June 20th of 2016, the town board conducted a hearing and on a 3-dog license request for 5646 Fisher Street. And following the hearing, the board approved the license based, as indicated in the minutes that are on page 51, based on staff review and recommendations to approve the request for a hobby kennel license at 5646 Fisher Street for a 2-year period through March 31st, 2018, subject to the various conditions, and followed that the Animal Control Office revisit the property in 6 months to see how the anti-bark collar is working. And so it's back for that report. So we've been in touch with the Animal Control Officer. He has basically responded by saying that he has been in contact with the owners and that everything is in compliance. We can also note that there have been no barking complaints since the license was issued. So there's really no action to take because the license was already approved. This is simply for the board to receive a report following up on that concern about parking.
Okay, so there's, since we've received no other comments or complaints, there's no real need to discuss modifying the approval or amending the term of the license, or anything like that.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Nope, I think that was the issue, was whether those barker collars made a difference, and since we've had no complaints and a follow-up by the sheriff's department, I'm satisfied.
Okay, so the action requested then is just to receive the report.
Correct.
Is there a motion?
Motion made to accept the receipt of the report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Next item is under new business, 7A regarding Lucy's Burgers.
All right, on page 57 of your packet is a memo prepared by Patty Walston.
Are we looking at two different documents? I'm looking at page 47. Is that what you mean, Bill?
Oh,
'Cause there is a page 57.
Mine's, what does yours say?
Mine
Mine
says
says,
50.
well, either way. Item 7A.
It's interesting.
Item,
I'm at another meeting then, I guess.
something must have happened in the office.
I get the same thing.
47?
Yeah.
Well, you guys go to your meeting, we'll do ours.
Deal.
All right, I'm sorry.
Technology.
Item 7A, we do have the same item on whatever
All
the
right.
page number is.
The owners of Lucy's Burgers have submitted their application for a 3-2 malt liquor license and an on-sale wine license with strong beer authorization. They anticipate the restaurant to open in the next few months. So pursuant to White Bear Township Ordinance Number 32, the following information is required and provided. Application is received and the license fee has been paid. Background checks have been completed and the applicants are clear. Proof of insurance has been provided. And because they haven't operated yet, there's no food liquor ratio to report on. So pursuant to section 2-3.2 of the liquor ordinance, an establishment holding a 3-2 malt liquor license may sell intoxicating malt liquors at on sale without additional license. And pursuant to section 2-4.1, an established holding an on sale wine license shall not be required to pay a Sunday on sale license. That's to explain why they've applied for and are recommending approval of both the 3-2 malt liquor license and the on sale wine license with strong beer. As you may recall, last year the town board amended the liquor ordinance to change the seating requirements. And before that amendment, we had a minimum seating requirement of 100 seats for liquor or beer, wine, or malt liquor. That ordinance was amended to allow for establishments under 100, but over 40 seats. And that's what Lucy's Burger fits within. So they're in compliance with all the requirements for submittal or approval of the 3-2 malt liquor license and on-sale wine license.
Okay, so, Bill, basically, what you're describing is the discussion that we had with the applicants. And none of the terms have really been changed here. What we're doing is rectifying those terms with the ordinances we have recently amended it.
Actually, they're simply applying. The town board amended the ordinances, and they're applying according to the requirements of the ordinance. So this is simply an application to receive the licenses.
Okay, but the terms that, you know, as far as what they're applying for a license to do is for the malt liquor license, the wine license, and the strong beer.
Correct.
Okay. And just to confirm, so that approval, or this approval would give them would allow them a 7-day per week liquor operation.
Beer and wine, not liquor.
Beer and wine, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, any questions from the board?
Bill, have they signed the lease on that property yet?
I don't know.
Do they have
Oh, let me phrase that. They've been building the project. I can't imagine they'd build it without a lease.
All I'm getting at is if we're assigning a liquor license to a place that's still not signed, sealed, and delivered, or they actually do it, have a signed lease now that we're assigning the liquor license to? Or does this just go to the applicant?
It goes to the applicant.
All right, so it really doesn't matter if they're up and,
No.
okay.
Do they, Bill, they given you an estimate when they think they'll start operating?
We've heard January.
Okay.
Building inspector could give you a better report.
Okay.
This is the first time for them, so they're kind of learning as they go.
Yeah, I think that's true. They've been advertising for employees already, and they haven't got the process done, so, and that's been going on for a few months, so I think it's taken them longer than they anticipated.
Okay, so the action item then requested tonight then is to approve the application.
Approve the application and issuance of the licenses.
We
yeah.
do this all in one bill?
I think so, sure.
right.
It's laid out, yep.
I'll move based on staff review and recommendations that we approve the 3.2% on-sale malt liquor license and the wine license on sale with strong beer authorization for Lucy's Burgers LLC. This is doing business as Lucy's Burgers, 1190 County Road J, Suite 700. The license will run through December 31st, 2017, and also to authorize execution by the town board chair and the town clerk.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, that motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. Those in favor of approving that application, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 7B, and that's regarding a water audit. And Jim, is that yours?
Yes. So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, as required, the township has put together their water supply plan, and we submitted that to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. The deadline was December 31st. We had that submitted by December 20th, so everything was done correctly through the water supply plan. The DNR has already begun their review of that document we sent them, and they have already responded saying they're very pleased with the completeness of the water supply plan that we submitted. So that is good news, and looking for more positive reaction going forward. One of the items within that water supply plan is what they call the water audit. And this is where you compare water production and billing. And in the document, we stated we have not performed an audit yet. And that is correct. It's not been that long since we've had meters, so we really haven't had a reason to do the audit because we didn't have the detailed information of the water usage compared to our production. So the DNR has requested us to, if we haven't done one, to perform one. And there are water audit procedures that are available through the American Water Works Association, the AWWA. These are procedures that communities do, and it is something that we should do for the township. It's not part of the water supply plan, but it is something that should be done, and the DNR is requesting us that we do it. They basically can hold up the review process of the water supply plan, saying you need to be doing this, even though it's not a task for the water supply plan. It really is just saying, hey, well, why haven't you done it? You really do need to do it. And it'll be a good procedure for the township to go through. So what we'll end up doing is we're gonna with staff and the DNR, we're gonna go through all of our data now from 2016, and basically go through the water audit process. It may be that we need to look going forward with 2017 and either data collections or procedures that we have if we're need to make changes or anything like that, but we'll get through that as we go through the audit itself. So we need to move forward to, which will keep our water supply plan process moving forward. Basically what we'll do is we'll begin this, work with staff, work with the DNR. We'll bring an update to you at the January work session, the executive meeting, to say where we're at and how things are going. And then we'll be back at a future board meeting, depending on how the process goes, just how quick we'll be back with that to say, here's what the audit is before we submit that back to the DNR.
Jim, is this just like a checks and balance to see if we're billing for the amount of water we're pumping?
That's a good summation of what it entails.
Somehow they're
correct.
gonna have to factor in flushing hydrants, that kind of thing, so.
And part of the AWWA standards are, their recommendation, their goal is to have less than a 10% what they call unaccounted for water. And that's where you get into why we do leak detections. Are you checking your systems so you don't have a large percentage being lost?
Flushing counts in that, would be some of that
So,
also.
I mean, this will help tie in the township to making sure they're documenting that they're following through on, hey, when we are using water, if with developments, with flushing, with all this stuff, that you're documenting the use, and so you can account for everything.
I mean, we have to be a little more accurate, like when we have water main breaks, like the one up on Otter Lake Road here. I mean, you can guesstimate, but it's hard to say how much we really lost.
Correct, and that there will be estimations that we'll have to do, but it will be a way for us to better understand our system and make sure that we are knowledgeable of where the water is going.
Going forward, is there like a set schedule that they recommend for these audits, or is that in the
It
next 10-year in our
is-
plan?
They can be as often as your billing cycles, they can be annually, they can be 2, 3, 5 years. It really gets down to, how is your system? If it's turning out that you're really able to account for everything and all the checks and balances agree, you don't need to be doing them as often. But if you're finding out that, hey, we have a lot of unaccounted water, you have other concerns, you're going to want to be doing it more often. So it'll be finding out just where we're at, determining how often you'd want to be doing this in the future. But it will be something that you will do.
So is it the
Periodically.
DNR that makes that determination then of how often this audit would be?
They can recommend if they don't think it's being done often enough, if it doesn't seem like we're adequately accounting for, but I think as long as the township is making something that's justifiable, I don't see that we're gonna get into an issue of the frequency of it.
So if for some reason we can't complete this audit, or we don't meet a 10% discrepancy goal, will the DNR then withhold approval of the water supply plan?
I would not say that they'll withhold it, but there will be more like conditions, saying, hey, well, we understand where you're at. We want to see, improvements, or we want to have you do follow-up checks or audits. I mean, so I think it's more of showing them how we're monitoring and that everything is checking out. And if there are any concerns. It just means there'll be more checking. I don't see this as being a stop-dead type of item. It just will be an ongoing item that we'll have to address.
Now, and you're, from what you're saying, this sounds like it's more of a financial audit than it is an operating audit.
It's the comparison. It's us showing we understand where our production is going. And that's one of the major components is our billing process.
So Jim, this,
So it is a production audit, really.
what we've got here is this page 31 in the supplement. That was part of the water supply plan that was submitted.
Correct.
And when they saw we didn't have the
When we said
audit,
we have
that's what
not
kicked it
done
out?
an audit,
Okay.
that was what triggered
Gotcha.
their response.
If we initiate the audit and give the good faith commitment to the DNR that we've started the audit, we're going to follow the audit process guidelines, and we will submit the results. Is there any, would that be sufficient for them then to approve the water supply plan? I guess I'm just a little confused what our exposure, what the township's exposure is to continue operating a water utility, but the DNR has not approved a water supply plan. Do we take any risk here?
I don't see us taking any risk. I mean, we've already met the criteria of getting it submitted. They're just asking for some more data because the actual water supply plan will be put out for a comment period. So there's a process that they go through before they approve it. What they're saying is, if you haven't already done this, we need to do that for us to keep going in our process. So it'll be working with them. I don't see this as a major issue or a major setback with the water supply plan, but it is something that we need to do.
Well, I think that the document that we saw, that we submitted, was pretty thorough and complete, and so I think we were
Yep.
impressed with it. But now, when you say the DNR will complete the review and then submit it for further review or questions, what,
So it's just like
What's
our
that
other
over here?
documents, when you put together your document, it gets put out for a comment period, so others can look at it and respond back, and
so
then,
is this like a public review and a public comment?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
So I was gonna say, so the comment on this page 31 where it says every 3 years, that's where they picked this up, that we hadn't done anything?
the every 3 years actually is from the item
Above it?
above that for
Oh.
our water detection.
I
So
gotcha.
the leak detection.
Gotcha, okay.
So really, the biggest thing is, it's typical that you're doing water audits. We really haven't even had that much time that we could have done a water audit just because we haven't had meters that long. So it's not this neglect of any real length of period of time, but we need to do this going forward, and it's something that we're gonna want to do as a township as we continue going forward with just operating our water system.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but this sounds like it's more work for township staff than it is for TKDA.
There's gonna be a majority of the work
Yes,
through
That
staff.
would be accurate.
Well, that's why I wanted to, why the 5,000 for, is that,
It's up to.
Yeah.
It's still gonna
there's-
take, town staff is asking for a lot of help from TKDA as well.
Okay.
It's gonna take both.
and now that we're a little shorthanded again,
I'm not gonna say it's gonna be done tomorrow, but we have to show a good faith effort to follow up on the very direct recommendation.
okay.
Well, and Jim, you're making the commitment, and we'll ask for that in any action item that we approve, but you're making the commitment that at the exec board meeting this month, you'll bring an update to us to show us more definitively what has to be done, what TKDA is going to do, and with this not to exceed term in the request, we have
Yep.
pretty good control over that.
Yeah, and definitely you will have review of that water audit before we return it back to the DNR. So the, this town board will definitely oversee this whole process.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board? So the action requested then is to authorize TKDA to begin and complete that audit and a cost not to exceed $5,000.
And we will work with staff and the DNR through that process.
This is a water fund
Correct.
project.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. If there's no other questions, comments, I'll call the question. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that moves us to item 8 on the agenda for added agenda items. We have no more. Item 9 is open time. Do we have any open time comments? We have the White Bear Press here. Here's their opportunity. I guess not.
Sign language.
Item 10 on the agenda is to receive agenda materials and supplements.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 11 is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We are adjourned.